What's going on, everybody? JHow here for patch 2.1.2 day, and there are big changes for the Marauders set, which we will go over here in just a minute. We're going to go over probably the best starter build that you can get into from day one, and it's going to have you clearing some pretty high content. We did a lot of testing on the PTR, so we're going to hit the skills real quick. I will come back and recap those, then we'll go over the gear, and we'll let you guys know exactly what you need to do. So for your skills, you are going to run Evasive Fire with Focus, Cluster Arrow with Maelstrom, Vault with Tumble, Sentry with Polar Station, Preparation with Punishment, Companion with Wolf Companion, and for your passives, Custom Engineering, Call of the Week, Awareness, and Ballistics. Now, what we're looking at here is it's going to be pretty much a slow fire build. However, there are going to be some tricks that I'll go over with you guys as far as what you're going to look for, especially when you're hitting those greater rifts. When it comes to T6 farming, we are going to have several more builds coming, so be sure and stick around for those. Now, Evasive Fire with Focus, this is going to change your damage to cold. And the main reason you're running this, because instead of backflipping, it increases the hatred generated to 7. That's going to be the main focus, and that's a big change going forward, is that resource cost regeneration or reduction is fairly important going forward, and this is going to give you the most hatred per hit, or I guess per shot, as far as all your skills go, and that's just a good thing to have there, is running some cold damage. Now, your main damage is going to be with Cluster Arrow Maelstrom. Yes, this looks very familiar. It's going to shoot for 550%, but it also releases up to 5 rockets at nearby enemies that each deal 450% weapon damage as cold, plus you get some life on hit, so that's a good thing to have there. Vault with Tumble, because there are always going to be situations where you need to get out of danger very quickly. This allows you to vault again within 6 seconds for 50% discipline resource cost there reduced. So that's a good thing to have there, and that's just a good way to get out of danger, stay alive. Sentry with Polar Station, because this is again turning it into cold. But the main thing about this one, and this is going to be very important, and we will go over this after we go over the gear, Sentry placement. Now, you're going to be running the Bane of the Trapped. You're also going to have Call of the Week, which is going to increase damage against chilled or slowed enemies. There's some changes to some specific skills, namely something like an Elemental Arrow with Frost Arrow, that it only chills them for 1 second now, so there's got to be different ways to get, you know, the chill effect, the slow effect going, and that's going to be with the Sentry and the Polar Station. So it's very important to keep in mind that placement of the Sentry is going to be very important. Now, you're going to be pumping out a lot of shots, and we're going to go over a way that you can kind of manage this a little bit better. But having a little bit of cooldown reduction and having preparation here, this is going to come around every 20 seconds, running it with punishment. Instead of restoring discipline, you're going to restore hatred, and that's 75 hatred there, which is huge. Now, Companion, it doesn't matter which one you choose here, because if you're running the Marauders set, you are going to have that anyways. You're going to have all of them across the board. Like my buddy Bandit, we like to have the Wolf there just because we like the way it sounds. Now, for your passives, Custom Engineering, this is absolutely vital. It increases the maximum number of charges of sentries to 3 and number of spike traps to 6. Now, the main thing here, and you're going to look, it increases the duration, which is nice, especially when you're farming stuff and you're just kind of chaining stuff together. But the main change with the Marauders, and we'll go over here in just 1 second, but you'll see there very quickly on the 6-piece bonus, your generators, your Elemental Arrow, Chakram Impale, Multi-Shot, and Cluster Arrow, they each deal 100% increased damage for every active sentry, which is going to come together with the Bombardiers and Custom Engineering. That allows you to get 5 of them down, so you're going to have an extra 500% damage, which is incredible. Call the Week, like I said, you're going to be using this pretty much with Sentry and Polar Station, because you're going to be doing an extra 20% damage to those that are chilled, and that's really huge there. Awareness, again, another one that you absolutely must have whenever you receive fatal damage. Instead of actually dying, you get a second life and you get healed up to 50% of your max life, and this can happen every minute, which is a really good thing to have, especially with a lot of the changes in the greater rifts and different stuff. There's more life, there's a lot of good stuff to go around, but this is absolutely vital. Next up, ballistics increases damage of rockets by 100%. And if you go back to the cluster arrow description there, you see that you have a chance to release up to 5 rockets, each dealing 450% weapon damage as cold. Now go ahead and double that, because that is a 100% increased damage there. So that is your skills, and we will hit the gear really quickly. And I'll go over a couple of other items that you might look towards. Now the Marauder set is very important. We're going to be running the Marauder's gloves, shoulders, chest, pants, and boots. Now, if you can get resource cost reduction as opposed to cooldown reduction, plus your crit hit chance, crit hit damage, and dexterity, you are in good shape there. For your shoulders, as you can see, we rolled this over to resource cost reduction, although you could even continue to keep cooldown reduction there. Having sentry damage on there is great, and then dexterity and vitality. For your chest piece, dex, vitality, sentry damage, and then 3 sockets of dexterity there. For your pants, dexterity, vitality, resistance, and then two sockets there with dexterity is great. Now here's a change for your gear optimization. Before, you would probably roll something like sentry damage in a couple pieces, but now we're making sure that we have cluster arrow rolled in as many places as we can. And you're going to go ahead and roll cluster arrow over on your boots. Now we've got our Bombardier's rucksack, and I will show you guys. I have sentry damage on here because I am now at 8.6 million per roll, and I can't get cluster arrow damage rolled on there just yet. But that is something we're going to work towards. We're going to hope to. We have plenty of gold, but we're going to be rolling a lot of stuff. Now, one of the big pieces that we're going to change here, and this can kind of go both ways, Pride's Fall. You're going to get this from your, I believe, Act 3 cache. I could be Act 2, I don't know. It's been a while. I've had this thing sitting around for a very long time. But you can actually do that. You can farm this up very easily. Your resource cost, this is the main reason you use it. It actually gives you a little buff here. Your resource costs are reduced by 30% after not taking damage for 5 seconds. Now, this is one of those things, depending on your playstyle, this may or may not work for you. It's really hard to avoid damage when you're playing solo, but if you do it the right way, you utilize your vault the right way, you keep your max distance, then you can actually make this work, and that's something you can do. Now, we're using an Atreyu here. However, if you are just starting or you don't have an Atreyu, I'm going to show you guys probably the easiest way to go ahead and get boosted up. This crossbow right here, the Arcane Barb. Now, if you haven't looked over the patch notes yet and you don't know that there are now ancient items, it's just really beefed up regular legendaries, and the thing is you can actually craft ancient items. So what you could actually do is just come over here, and we'll do one for fun. I don't have much hope here, but there's the new transmog there. You can just roll this, and you can continue to roll it until you get an ancient item or something like that. Now it's a really slow attack speed. You're going to see it's a 1.1 attack speed. So the main thing here is that when you're going around, you're going to be shooting in greater rifts. It's never just a stand and channel a skill or anything like that. That's the hardest part to do. So a lot of things that you're going to find, this is pretty much what we're going to hit on. And of course, I'll finish the gear real quick. Royal Ring of Grandeur, so that you can hit that six-piece bonus by only having the 5 pieces. I've got a Witching Hour there on my belt, but we're going to be farming up ancient items here soon, so all that will be changing quite a bit. So for the other ring, I just have something here. If I'm playing solo, I will throw a Unity on. I've got dozens of them sitting around. So we'll throw a Unity on there, have a Unity on your follower, and you can check out those other videos as far as how to gear your follower. Amulet, you know, you can go with a bunch of different stuff here. This just happens to put out the most damage for me. For the gems, we are running the Bane of the Trapped. Now, the Enforcer, it's almost one of those things to where, since sentries don't do as much damage as you are attacking, you may or may not use it, but we are continuing to use it here. And then the Bane of the Powerful, just because we like to have that extra damage as we kill the elite. So for your Paragon points, it's also a bit of a change as far as how you set it up. We're putting more points into Max Hatred so that we can get more cluster arrows out when we do get those resource costs up. And we are running Reaper's Wraps as well. However, you could easily run something different here, but we're doing that so that when we get those health globes, we get our resources back. So we're putting Max Hatred, we're only putting 15 points into movement speed because our companion gives us 10, and then the rest into dexterity. Now, I'm doing this a little bit different. you're going to want to go cooldown reduction and crit hit damage no matter what. I'm actually going with attack speed because I like getting my hatred back a little bit quicker. Plus, I actually have really high crit chance at 56.5, so we're leaving that off there. Defense, resist all first, then armor. I'm going with life regen just because it's so nice. Life you could easily go with, and then utility. Life on hit and resource cost reduction, probably in that order, depending on what level you're at. And then the rest into area damage, and then gold fine is just a bonus after that. So, one thing I wanted to touch on again with you guys, especially if you are crafting the Arcane Barb or you're running another slow two-hander, which seems to be because if you get a really strong two-hander, especially an ancient one, you're going to be dropping bombs. Like, as you go through, it's bam! You know, you're just unloading, and that's kind of the thing. You're never going to stand still. I mean, very rarely will you find yourself standing still unless you're still hiding around a corner and letting your sentries do stuff. Because you're getting the extra, basically 500% extra damage between the bombardiers and the custom engineering, you plant those down, and so you actually have charges, so you can actually do that real quick. But we'll actually hop in here really quickly and show you guys this in action. We just burst through all of our charges, but we put one down, and the main thing is you want to put these down basically on them. So there you can see we actually just one-shot everything right there, and this is kind of the big boost, and that's only with 2 sentries down. You're seeing that we're in T6 and we are just waltzing through here like it's no big deal. We almost don't even have to place them on top. We've got some elites here. Let's see what we can do as soon as we can find them. They're in there somewhere, and they're dead. They're actually dead in there, but as you can see, huge crit numbers. Now, this is going to take you well into the high-grader rifts, and there are going to be some more builds that we're going to come up with. Actually, we're going to be releasing those very soon, so if you haven't already subscribed, you might want to do that now if you like what you're watching, because we're going to be doing a lot more builds coming up very soon, and a lot more for different classes, different builds for the Demon Hunter especially. We love playing the Demon Hunter, and we are going to continue to play the Demon Hunter, and so hopefully you guys will stick around for those. But we're going to be showing you a couple different options that you can run with, but for now, if you're hopping into 2.1.2 and it's day 1 for you, this is a great build to just get started, and you can just absolutely tear through T6. I mean, there I took one shot, the extra rockets came around and killed that guy. I mean, we can just, here's a good area where I know stuff's going to pop up. We'll just place this down. And the whole idea is to stick and move, especially when you hop into greater rifts. You don't want to be standing still. You want to be able to keep your prides fall with a resource cost reduction, and that way you can kind of manage your preparation and your companion to be able to get your hatred back as best as possible. Alright guys, so that's it. I will leave you to it. It's patch 2.1.2 day. Go out and enjoy it. Go out and start one-shotting stuff just like this and have a good time with it. So I appreciate you guys watching. If this did help you out, feel free to hit that like button below or leave a comment and let me know what you think about the build. We're going to be doing more, like I said, so make sure and stick around. And as you can see, we are beasting through those guys. Make sure and stick around and subscribe for lots more videos to come. All classes are going to be coming, so be on the lookout for those. As always, guys, happy hunting. Thanks for watching.